10,000 years ago, great ice sheets covered most of North America across Canada, south to Illinois and Michigan, east across New England, and out into the waters of the Atlantic. The ice pressed down upon the land, gouging and carving its surface. Today, on the coast of Maine, marks of the great ice sheet are still evidenced by grooves carved in the mountains. Polished and broken rock testify to the power of the ice. And yet, the casual visitor to this coast often misses the most awesome evidence of all. The entire coast of Maine is slowly rising out of the sea. For over 1 million years, a mile-thick sheet of ice covered the land. Pressed down by this great weight, the land slowly sank. With the melting of the great glacier, the waters returned, flooding the scoured rock surface, and the depressed land began rising slowly from the sea. Today, headlands of rock left by the great ice sheets are pounded relentlessly by the waves. Slowly, they are being broken and ground. The debris transported into the bays to form beaches or bars. Some of cobbles, some of sand. The crashing waves of winter storms attack the cliffs, lifting and tossing blocks the size of houses, slowly straightening the shoreline, wearing off the points and filling in the bays. Far to the north, along the coast of Alaska, the shore is stark and rugged. Large arches and cliffs carved from the seemingly indestructible rock testify to the power of wind and wave. The great sheets of ice, which once completely covered the land, have disappeared. But in the valleys, small glaciers still carve their way downhill. Gouging, grinding, scraping, creating as they destroy. These great deep valleys may someday offer deep water harbors for man's use. But today, they are filled with ice that creeps slowly downhill toward the sea. Where ocean and ice meet, great masses of ice break away and drift out to sea, like messengers from the Ice Age long past. Water from the melting ice carries loads of debris seaward, and there it slowly settles, forming great deltas. Currents along the shore may sweep this debris into long ribbon-like strips called bars, separated from the land by shallow, marshy bodies of water. With time, the shallow sounds fill in and new bars form to seaward. Along the warm coast of California, titanic forces are acting within the Earth, raising great masses of rock from the sea. The waves carve flat terraces from the rock. As more earthquakes lift the land, forming new cliffs, waves cut new beaches. Over the centuries, creating giant stair steps like these. Just off the present beach, resistant blocks and chunks of rock stand as stacks and islands. In the cliffs, patches of softer rock worn by the sea leave arches, bridges, and sea caves behind. As in Maine, the waves beat on the headlands, crushing boulders to sand. And yet the waves, too, are reshaped by the headlands, and their refracted energy sweeps the newly ground rock back to fill the bays, forming peaceful beaches of sand along the stark, rocky cliffs of the coast. In Hawaii, lava from periodic eruptions flows into the sea, heating the water with explosive violence and building up the shoreline. The sea works more slowly, but wave after wave crashing on the shore steadily reduces the newly hardened rock to sand. Like other rivers around the world, the Mississippi gathers its sand and mud from the heart of the continent, forming a gigantic delta. Relentlessly, the river is extending the shoreline with swamps and wandering shallow streams. The ever-increasing load of deposited sand and mud is creating new land. To the north, the Atlantic Ocean washes the southeastern shore of the United States. For 200 million years, this coast has been forming from the remains of eroded mountains. The Atlantic coastal plain stretches from New York to Florida, a low and flat land which slopes gently eastward. The rising sea has flooded the river valleys of the Altamaha, Santee, Cape Fear, and Potomac. Along the beaches, waves, reworking the sand, have created large bars called barrier islands. Although some are covered by trees and grasses, they are constantly shifting with the changing winds and waves. They are broken here and there by inlets to rivers or great bodies of shallow water called sounds. All these estuaries form a mixing ground where ocean water meets fresh water from the land, producing brackish tidal marshes, the cradle for hundreds of life forms. Offshore, the shallow bottom harbors bars of sand hidden beneath the sea, and yet close enough to the surface to trap the unwary sailor. Slowly, the sounds are filling with sediment, changing the marsh to dry land. Here, too, slowly pushing out the boundary of the land. Rocky headlands, wave-worn arches, glacier-carved valleys, cliffs rising from the sea. Volcanoes spewing lava to fight the waves. Shallow delta sands and muds, barrier bars, and flooded valleys. Each shoreline testifies to a contest between land and sea, where the shape and character of the shore hangs in the balance. A battle shaped by a wide variety of forces, evidence of the eternal struggle between land and sea.